Don't say that on there.
I don't think you can say that one.
Want to count me down or what? I'm just going to do this on
3, 2,
my...
1, go.
There we go. You bastard. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. This show is sponsored by Be Remembered, where you can build your dream wedding. And here at the Wonderful World of Weddings, we're going to talk about how to create a wonderful wedding. Something like that, right?
Right, something like that.
Something like that. Anyways, guys, we are really happy to have you back. Here's our 4th episode, and we're continuing to try to bring couples some great information on what to be focused on their big day. This is the 3rd largest expense in your life, and most people know nothing about it. And you only do it once, right? You buy a car, you buy it again, you buy it again. You help family buy cars, you figure it out. Weddings, you are lost.
Right.
You're seeing other people, you have no clue how to get it done. Well, today I'm joined by Daniel Tavar. He's one of our wonderful photographers at Be Remembered.
Thank you.
And he's our best. We love him. He's up there.
Yeah, I'm okay.
No. We absolutely love him here. Couples love you. And so you're the perfect candidate to really talk about photography.
Right.
There's so many angles of photography.
Yeah. It's more than just taking a photo.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't do it on an
A
iPhone.
lot more than that. Yeah.
It will not be done on an iPhone.
Right.
So today, well, we're going to talk to you and just try to understand, try to help couples in any way, maybe answer some questions from them. That's the big thing.
Okay.
We actually had some requests recently that came through, and you know, you guys can always go into berememberedweddings.com/podcast.
Okay.
And you can actually message us in with any questions. So that way we can bring Dan back on, have another conversation and answer those questions. But to be more general, let's get into it and talk about how you got into photography to begin with.
Definitely. That's kind of like a hobby at first. It was something that I didn't even like think. Like it's just like you just saw something cool, you take a photo of it.
Yeah.
It was more like just having a crappy camera. Like everybody starts off with like a Canon. It's always a Canon, like the Rebel.
I was gonna say, was it a Rebel?
It's always a Rebel. You have it like it's a hand-me-down. You get it at a yard sale, $15.
Yeah.
I started off with like just taking photos of cars, of something that I loved.
Yeah.
I was never that like nature photo guy. I didn't like nature. I don't care
do
about nature.
either. I can't.
I can't. No. But I always took photos of like cars. I was really into like the EDC stuff, like how people like the everyday carry, like they put like get like a catalog of everything that they were carrying and like the way they've put it together.
I've never heard of this.
Super cool.
Really?
So they would put like their wallet that matched their iPhone case, that matched their watch band, and matched their hoodie or whatever.
Okay.
And it was pretty cool. So I was like just taking photos of that, and then I never really thought of anything of it. I would just like, take a photo, post on Instagram, whatever.
Right.
And then I started getting a little bit more into it. I got into film after that, and I love film. My friend taught me about film.
Film photography?
Film photography.
Yeah.
So it was, we would go to the store, Walgreens, CVS, wherever, and then buy 35 millimeter film. And we'd go and just roll it up, take a photo of it, and you couldn't see the photo. But the beauty of it was that you only have 35 photos or 25.
Right.
And then you would literally take your time, and you had to pose it, make sure everything was correct. You would even have to get a tripod to just make sure that everything was composed. Right. And then that's when I really fell in love with photography. I'm like, this is so cool. and with film, like you can take a photo of anything and it looks good. It looks vintage.
Right.
Almost zero editing to do. And I think that was like awesome. And then afterwards, I kind of became that guy at school that just like always had a camera on him. And I still never saw it as a job. Like till I was like maybe like 19 when someone brought me to their first wedding as a second shooter. But I never saw it as a career. I just thought that was like way too hard to get into to the point where I didn't even bother. I didn't even look for it. It kind of so happened that some guy said, hey, I know you can use a camera. Just come with me on a wedding.
So that's how you got into weddings. You just got kind of pulled into it one day.
Yeah, some guy said that his guy bailed on him. He's like, I saw you take a photo at like at a car show. Yeah. And like the photo came out nice. He was like, I know cars are not the same thing as people, but if you want, you can be my second man. And it's like, I just need someone to come with me. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was like back in 2019.
I feel like that's how so many people get their start with it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And wow. So you've done how many weddings since? I mean, geez, just with us alone, you've done hundreds, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a point where it was like at least 4 a week.
Jesus.
Like a minimum at some point.
So all right, well, where was the transition? Because now you love it. Your
Yeah.
customers love you.
Right.
And so there has to be a personality change because you're not talking. I mean, when you're going up to a car
Mhm.
and you're taking the EDCs, right? I mean, this is a very different environment.
Right.
Now you're surrounded by people. You're trying to get them to engage with you. How did you transition, or were you just naturally that person?
Honestly, what helped me the most was getting a sales job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I got a sales job and when I was like 18 and I was still a little like kind of like that shy kid.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be that shy kid if I wanted,
To sell, right?
to sell and I wanted
Yeah.
money. So they helped me get a voice. They helped me start talking to people, any person, like no matter the age, the group, their background, it doesn't matter. I just knew how to talk to somebody.
Yeah. And I think that's, I was talking about that this weekend.
Right.
It's like 70% of the wedding, because if you can't make someone feel calm and comfortable around you, you're not going to get genuine engagements.
Yeah, it's really big. Right.
And that's establishing that in the span of a day is very, very difficult.
Exactly.
You need to have that sales ability, that the ability to just talk to anyone.
You do. You really do.
Huh. That's too funny. Okay. So now, wow. So was it a tough transition from you out of film into digital?
Honestly, it was easier.
Of course. I mean, yes. Right.
Digital was just so much easier. I felt like, I mean, you didn't have to do every single thing in manual. You had to like get a light meter with you when you were doing film, and you had to it was just like one mess up and like that photo's done. You got to retake it. And with cool thing with digital, and the reason why I ended up buying a digital camera too was just for practice. I bought a Canon M50 just to practice digital.
Okay.
Mainly because it's like I can keep shooting and look at it instead of waiting 5 days to get the photos.
Right.
So I can keep going and going. Yeah.
Were you exposing them yourself too?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Everything. Yeah.
Wow.
I had to do every single thing. So like everything was manual. I
That's
had some
so
that were
fun.
point and shoots, but my favorite ones were like the manual ones when you can control everything. Sometimes I overexpose some photos just to get a different effect.
Sure.
But, yeah. But,
do you still do that now?
yeah.
That's too
I
fun.
do that every day. Yeah.
You do it every day.
So like my thing now is that I always carry a camera on me.
Yeah.
Like that's just like a thing. So like that way people are like, oh, what, like I carry like a vintage bag.
Yep.
And they look at it like, oh, what is that? Is that a camera bag? I'm like, yeah, like I have like a 90s camera or a 60s camera. And they're like, why do you carry that camera? I'm like, well, you never know. Like I just take it and just take random photos. Like I'll just like pull it out, just go and then like put it back in. And like people look at me like, what are you doing? But it would be so quick that they didn't even notice.
Yeah. Do you do any at weddings with our people anymore?
That's one thing I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Was to do some film because
I might have to throw that in there.
I've had a buddy that did his, and when he had like free time, like obviously he had to take them on digital, but when he did like a few on film and show the customer, they love those way better.
Well, you know what's funny though? Everyone wants quantity now. I get the question constantly when people call in. Right. Well, how many photos am I getting? Well, how many, raw images am I going to get?
I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought it was more like I just want the moments captured instead of the photos. I mean, personally, if I had a wedding, I would prefer to be like, hey, capture the first kiss. Yeah. These are all the things I want to capture. Everything else, let the photographer be creative and do this thing.
You know what it is too, and what really matters outside of the photos that you're going to put on your mantle.
Yeah.
You don't have photos of your friends dancing on the dance floor on your mantle. You don't. You just don't. I mean, that doesn't mean you're not going to capture them. They're not going to be a cool photo, and maybe you put them in an album. But in the end of the day, what you really want is you two looking beautiful outside, posed properly, or the first kiss, like you said, or dad walking you down the aisle. Maybe, you and your dad or you and your mom for the dance, right? Yeah. Fair enough. Like I remember in my dad's office, my dad has a gray photo of him and my sister.
And those last forever.
They do last forever.
And they're like the most beautiful photos. And like you don't even use the photos like you were saying of your friends because you might even like not be friends later on.
Yeah. Well, this part of the conversation is not going to last forever. We're actually going to go to a quick break and we're going to be right back. So guys, stay with us here on Wonderful World of Weddings. We'll be back in just a minute. And remember, it's sponsored by Be Remembered. So go check it out at BeRememberedWeddings.com and hire Daniel.
Hire me.
We'll see you in a second, guys. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. I'm here with Daniel Tavar. We are sponsored by Be Remembered. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com to build a wonderful wedding for yourself. So Daniel, we were just talking before the break about how you got into weddings, all the crazy things that you do with film photography.
Yeah.
I would say to explain that, but I would say to everyone, just go look it up. Today, we're more talking about digital photography. And right before the break, we were actually talking about how these posed moments are very important. And you really kind of dialed in there because for film photography, that's really all you can do, right? You only have 35 photos. You're really zeroing this in. Digital, we're getting hundreds of photos in a day, sometimes even thousands.
Exactly.
We're editing them down to hundreds and delivering them. But so number one, what's your stance on candid versus posed? I mean, there's really a place for both in my mind, but give it to me. What are we thinking for the couples out there?
I think like some of them you do need the pose ones, like to put it on the shelf.
Of course, right?
But like the candid photos, it's like you just can't recreate that. You can like feel those emotions in that, especially like when you feel like there's no photographer there. Or you're just like by yourself with your husband and on that first dance, and you're just like feel like there's no one around you.
I know.
And like that actual feeling you can capture on the
And I think too, that isolation, when you can create that's what really is beautiful. I mean, those are usually my favorite shots too.
Mine too.
You have the dance floor, you have the light that's properly exposed, you have this couple that looks like they're the only thing in the world right then and there, you know? So I'm with you, but at the same time, that beautiful photo outside that you posed that felt awkward, that then you go look back on, you go, wow,
right,
that's amazing. The one thing I will bring up though is the candid emotions. If you can get, and we were talking about this too, in the personality, getting someone comfortable to the point where they're going to act in a normal way and in a genuine manner.
Exactly.
You know, how do you do that? I mean, that's really a tough thing.
And that's something you can combine both of those things. So when you're posing someone, you can kind of make the couples laugh. That way it comes out like pose, but then after the pose, you can do some candids like in between it.
Right.
So like, have them talk about their first date or have them talk about what makes them fall in love with each other every day.
Well, I use something kind of cheeky. I always have them whisper in the ear.
Yeah.
But I always tell them, tell the other very seductively what you had for lunch. And you always get the bologna sandwich. It's like, okay, that's a little weird. But then guys take it to a whole new extreme. I hear the girl dying laughing, but the laugh is great.
Right.
That's the big thing is you get the laugh, you get the kind
especially
of head
to
back.
break the ice, because sometimes they're like super awkward the first photos. And then like you got to have them like kind of like do some things that are just standing there, in my opinion.
Do you always start them off kind of slow too?
I do.
That's a strategy I use a lot.
Well, it depends on the couple. I mean, some couples only want posed.
Right.
But I still add in candid photos, and like they tend to like those, I feel like, a lot better.
Yeah.
And there's other people like, oh, I just want candid photos, like no pose. But then, like there's sometimes I do have to pose, and there's some people who are used to just posing and looking in front of the camera.
Yep. Do you ever deal with the Pinterest couples, the couple or mostly the brides who come up and they're like, I want this exact shot. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, actually, I haven't.
No, you haven't?
No.
Oh, I deal with that a lot.
I had someone like, oh, I'm looking for like, they like try to describe a photo.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what they're saying. And they're just like telling me like, okay, I need like this here. I need to take this kind of photo. Or like maybe they have their own poses that they want to try. And I still, take them. But like I've never had anyone show me a physical photo yet.
Well, and I mean, they always show me one with a beach in the background, and I'm like, we're in a park.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that. I was like, and the greatest thing is like, I'll pose them in that way. Right. And they're like, well, why don't we look like them? I was like, because you're not them.
Right.
I was like, and that's fine. I was like, what we can do though is now you take this, you morph it a little bit. That meets you two. You get you two laughing, so you actually feel comfortable, and you don't feel like a stiff tree just kind of like standing there. And now we actually have the emotion that when you look at that photo, you go, oh my God, I remember that. That was beautiful. Oh, that was so cute. He said this to me. You remember what you said to me? Yeah, I do. Right. And which kind of segments into most couples. I always want to know, how do you get the perfect shot? Right. I mean, what do you look for when you get that perfect shot, compared to the couple? Does it usually translate? Give us a little bit of that.
So, I mean, I had the last couple that I did, they were really looking for like to recreate the shots that they had before, like in their engagement or when they were like teenagers. Like the last couple, they were high school sweethearts.
Yeah. Oh,
so they wanted to like
cute.
recreate even like their prom photos. And it's like I saw their photo and I like they forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
And I was looking how they were had the whole place set up with like different photos of like their whole life from like 14 all the way to being like 24. And I was like try to recreate almost all of those. That way like they can like compare them both.
Put them side by side.
But
yeah.
like for the perfect shot, I guess it depends on the couple too. It depends on the location. I feel like there's so many like different photos that I come up with as we go, and depending on the couple, like it could be on like the couple's height. Like if they're like similar heights, I can pose them in a way that they will like absolutely love the photo. And sometimes they don't like most of the poses that I do. They feel like it's gonna look dumb. And then sometimes they get a text back like, "Oh, that's my favorite photo." I get that all the time. Like the two heads touching each other. They're like, "This is really awkward."
Were you the one? I saw a bunch of photos recently where the guy put his hands behind her back and did kind of like a heart with his hands. Was that you?
That was not me, but I did see that and that was pretty cool.
I did. It seemed a little prom, and that's what kind of made me think of it.
Right.
But no, it was a nice photo, and actually the light was stunning. That's the other thing too. I don't think couples realize how important that light is, and to take advantage of it. You know, if I see if they're doing it midday and I see a very strong light coming in from the sun or just an outside source light, I'm going to use it to my advantage to have some fun.
Oh, all the time.
You know, last weekend we were trying to get photos outside of this house. The house had this terrible, terrible lighting to the outside. So I used a light behind them and did a lot of silhouette shots. And so I can't predict those going in, and I don't know. But again, I showed the couple and they're like, "That's incredible. How did you do that? These are my favorite photos." And you're just like, just kind of came to me. There was nothing that we're trying to set up.
Right. It's kind of like once you get there, you got to adapt and know what to do. Depending if you're at a house wedding or you're in like a huge venue or there's like multiple things going on, there's too many people. You have to know like how to adapt to it really quick.
And I do feel like most of the time, I mean, I'd say 1 out of 10. I get that. I would go to a place and I'm like, wow, this is going to be, every shot's going to be beautiful. Most of the time, that's not the case. 9 out of 10 times, it's like, okay, we're going to try to work with what's happening right now. Right. You're positioned against a wall and there's no light. I had a place where I had the ceiling tilted on me against them. So whenever I flashed light, it shot back at me.
You're right.
And so it's just weird things like that you have to adapt to right away.
Yeah. And I had an engagement that was like in the pitch dark.
I remember that was recently. Yeah.
But and it was windy too, so I couldn't even use the light stand without it having like falling it off. So I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna risk it. Yeah. So I did like a back flash, and I made the guy hold it the whole time. All those photos with the flashes, he was holding the light.
That's so.
And I told him to hide it behind his head.
Oh my god, that's great.
He was okay with it. I mean, he was super tall, so I'm like, it kind of worked out. And like, you just gotta go.
I edited those photos actually. They came out beautiful. Yeah.
There were some that were really hard. Like the ones where he just kind of wasn't the location he told me he was going to be in.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he got me by surprise.
And so that kind of leads into
you have to be ready.
You do, right? You have
to be ready.
And that leads into my next question is, how do you choose your photographer? And I always hear this from couples. What's your style? What's your style? What's your style? I think that has nothing to do with how to choose a photographer.
Yeah.
Choose someone that has been in multiple situations that can find anything, any way to work with it.
Right.
Right. I mean, is that not the best suggestion for them?
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Because I mean, if I was like really new and like I was like, oh, photo's gone, and I just stood there. Yeah. But like I had to run. Like you have to just get that shot.
You just figure it out.
Doesn't matter. You have to get it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break one more time. We're going to come back and go through the wedding timeline with you to try to figure out when to take these perfect shots. And we'll be right back. Thanks, guys.
Every step, writing stories that seek to be read, taking hold of the moment as we discover every color filled with wonder. Now we finally see we got everything we need. Here we go. All we need is an open road.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. I'm here with Daniel Tavar. This show is brought to you by Be Remembered, where you can have a wonderful wedding with us. Don't forget that you can book every service from photography, videography, event planning, DJ, makeup, coordination, and photo booth, all with us. So do it right now. No, we have payment plans available for anyone over $2,000. Break those payments up, make it easy for you, and have one place where you can get everything you need and have one contact right here at Be Remembered, BeRememberedWeddings.com. So Dan, we were talking before about candids versus posed, how to get the perfect shot.
Right.
Now we got to go into when to get that perfect shot.
Exactly.
So we're going to break down the day. You let me know when candids, posed, what are we doing here? So a lot of customers love to go ahead and get getting ready photos. I love them too. What are you doing during getting ready? What are you taking photos of? Are they candid? Are they posed? What? Give us the lowdown.
I would say most of them are candid, just because it's like there's really the poses can be kind of awkward because most of the time they're just standing there, and they usually are very awkward. They're just like just standing there, kind of like, oh, I don't know where to look. Do I look at the camera? And like
getting makeup on,
right?
Yeah,
that's the first time you and the customer meet. So also like they like don't know what to do because they're not used to a camera in their face.
Right.
So most of the time we just say, just stay there, act like I'm not even here. And then later on, as we go on once it's like basically 95% or even 100% done, that's when I usually do pose. And I can have somebody pretend that they're doing makeup when the makeup's already done.
Yeah. Just touch ups, that type of thing.
Right. Exactly. Or I can have it like, let me know when you're about to do her lipstick. So I can have it like before and after, I guess. Right.
There's another one too, the setting spray. Those are always cool shots.
Right.
The hairspray shots.
Pretty cool.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always say, there's going to be one of you who's a creep and stares right at the camera during a candid moment. It's always that one person like,
there's someone who doesn't, like they always like look at it from like their side. Like every photo they're staring at the camera. I'm just like, I can't use these.
Yeah. Now, do you love detail shots of jewelry? Is that something you do? Yeah, you do lays.
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah. I usually would do it roughly around that time because you don't want to like get too many of like the same photos of them getting ready essentially.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, the only person I've noticed that she wants focus on is just like the mom.
Yeah.
Anyone that's family, most
outside
of
her.
Yeah. Most of the bridesmaids, they usually don't want them captured in like getting ready.
Yeah.
But that time, if there is time, I would, grab her heels, necklace, earrings, the rings, invitation card, whatever that means something to her. Or if I find something that, she didn't give to me and I think that she would like it. Kind of give her like that surprise photo that she didn't know.
Yeah.
That's going to be there.
And I'll tell you one thing that I do tell most brides is show up with that stuff ready to go. Especially if you're in a tight timeline, get that stuff ready to go. We'll do some lay flats. We'll make them really pretty. We'll move on. Right. All right. So we got through our getting ready. Now we have an option. We can do some first look photos. For first look, do you pose people in a certain way for that?
Almost every time.
Every time.
I think I've never not posed somebody. Every single time it's been posed.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost every single
really?
time. Yeah.
And do you do that out of ease for the couple or for the shot? What's the thought behind it?
I usually do that to get the guy nervous. So usually I pose him, and I've actually done it a few times where I've had a groomsman come up to him and tap him on the shoulder, thinking that it was the bride, and like they get so nervous they even start crying.
No,
I get him like, just start like, touching his neck, caressing his ear, and they turn around and like, what? And then like get so surprised. And, like that kind of makes the nerves go away.
Yeah, lowers the temperature.
But it also like it builds them up too at the same time.
That's too.
And
funny.
then usually I would have the guy set facing towards me.
Yep.
And then I have the bride on like the side a little bit, that way I can see her in the photo. And then I kind of tell them to go slowly while they're coming forward, I'm kind of positioning myself to get his reaction.
So you're doing kind of a peekaboo over his shoulder to her.
Right.
I love those shots. Those are beautiful.
Those are awesome.
Really, really fun shots.
You can see her whole dress. You can see what he's wearing.
Yeah.
You can see his emotions, her emotions.
Right.
And then when they see each other, you get both emotions.
Yeah. I know. I always have to teach them how to turn. That's a big thing. It's like you're going to open up this way. So if I'm on this side, I can see both of you.
And like you always said, people forget their left and rights. I'm like, this way.
Yes,
you can't say left or right. They're like, I have no idea what that is right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know my name.
Well, I'll tell you the funniest story. I was in the car. I was in a limo. It's my sister's wedding.
Right.
And I'm with my brother-in-law and all of his friends. And he looked at me and he goes, "Where am I going?" And I go, "What?" and they're 9 years older than me. And I'm sitting there like, "You're joking, right? I hope you're joking." And he was like, "No."
Wow. The nerves really kick in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had said something probably very inappropriate at that time, but I was like, "You need to figure your this out and get there." And yeah. And he was like, "Well," and they were drinking too. And I was like, that's the one thing, the drinking thing. It's like, drink at the end of your wedding, but you also want to remember it. Anyways, we'll get into that another day. That's a whole other thing. All right. So we got through our getting ready. So if we do a first look, are you suggesting to do family photos and portraits then?
Right after, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time, like the family will be like watching them do the first look sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's multiple people doing the first look, not just the groom.
So are you rolling right into posed with family and friends, all that? Yeah.
It also depends on I guess, how everybody's, if no one's there. Sometimes there might not be anybody there, just be the bridesmaids or the whole bridal party.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just do the poses of the bride and groom, get those done with, and then put the bridal party in if they're ready.
I also find that gives them some time at cocktail hour to actually enjoy, which is a big thing.
And it makes all the other photos go by way quicker too.
Yeah.
Because you already got like all the essential ones.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. All right. Now in ceremony, it's candid. I mean, the whole thing's candid.
Yeah, all of it.
I mean, and you're working with your environment at that point, right?
Those are the best candids, in my opinion. Yeah. When, the first kiss, when they're looking at each other, all the emotions,
right.
Or when the bride is walking down, you see the groom looking at, that might even be the first look sometimes.
Yeah, right.
And you get those emotions. And
it's so raw.
Yeah.
It's so raw. Yeah.
And like, they don't remember to have like those emotions. Like,
I know.
They're just so invested in the moment. But yeah, I mean, my favorite ones during the ceremony is when the ceremony's done and they're walking back.
Yeah.
And you get the whole crowd standing up.
Yep.
I hate when the people don't stand up. I hate when they don't. They just like all facing that way. You see the back of the heads. They're not even looking at the bride.
I know.
The groom is like, why are you guys even here? Like, you're supposed to support them. Like,
right. I always have them stop at the end of the aisle. You need everyone to cheer, get up. You need them to do a little dip. That's the photo. That's the candid photo that, it has a little bit of instruction, but it's gorgeous.
Right.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. And then cocktail hour, if you didn't get those photos done, you're going back into the post, right? Trying to finish up family, the whole 9 yards.
Sometimes like that would be like if I missed the mom or something like that, or someone came late, or if there's anyone that just wanted photos with the bride, sometimes I'll get those in. Or I get like the guys like doing a toast and cheering and being happy. Like those are candid, but it's like posing candid at the same time.
Yep.
And you're just walking around.
Well, and so, all right, let's skip ahead to the introductions because we're going to get this exciting party theme. Everything's happening. We're doing our introductions. We're having a good time, all candid through this moment. You're just clicking them, walking in. You did the first dance. We talked about the first dance before. It's that very candid, but you're trying to get these moments where it's pure, genuine emotions towards one another, just like ceremony. And, we talked about how we love those photos. Table photos. This is something that's requested so often.
Yep.
I have a certain feeling towards them.
Yeah, it's like a love and hate thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes like...
Well, it makes your life easy in some ways.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, you just kind of want to remove some things, or some people are already sitting down.
Right.
So I try to get those done like before there's anyone there, if it's possible.
Yeah,
Get those little detail shots. Sometimes they have
But even the family table shots, those people want. Oh, let's go walk around to each table and get a photo with every single person that's here.
Yeah.
It's like you want food in your photo.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I had some people tell me take photos of my food. Okay. I don't think you're going to want that.
Instagram, baby. Instagram.
They're like, I made that. You better take a photo of that. Okay, sorry.
Like, Jesus, I don't know. All right. I just thought it was the chef in the back. I don't know. But yeah, no. So are there any other major moments in the night that you're really keying in on outside of just the dancing, which is usually just it's a crapshoot, to be honest with you. It's how much light can I get in here, and if people are willing to dance and have a good time, right? Get that emotion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, when it comes to like the dancing, like a lot of them can feel kind of the same.
Mm.
So you kind of just want to look at the person who's having the most emotion.
Yeah,
Who's
right.
having the most fun.
Yeah. Hope it's the bride and groom at some point. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, most of the weddings I've done, the bride and groom are almost like never dancing.
I know.
It's like all the other people.
I had one the other day where she was getting down and so was he. And I was like, this is great.
Yeah,
These are
that's
awesome
awesome.
photos. Like
Right.
this is what should be captured
Right,
here.
exactly.
But yeah, no, a lot of the time they're walking around in the pitch black and like, can you get this photo of us? And I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not that easy.
Yeah. I was like, in this dark corner in the back of the room, I was like, let me get 3 flashes and set
Right.
this up for you.
I do like the couples that let us just kind of take control over everything.
It
They're like,
is
tell me
nice.
where to do the first look. Tell me where to go for the
Mhm.
whole bridal party. Tell me where you want to take these photos. Tell me
Yeah.
where to stand. And it makes it easier.
I will tell you though, I like the instruction in the beginning. Hey, this is what I'm going for, so we can get on the same page. But then you're right. I do like the ability of, hey, this is what works best. And I'm saying like, oh, I appreciate it. You're the professional.
Right. And
Yeah.
I get some customers in the straight beginning, like, oh, I want almost like all pose. Like I need all these people captured.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like once I get to know everybody, I get
Yeah.
like candidates of them doing something else.
And those are the photos.
Right.
Yeah, those are definitely the photos. So, yeah, and so guys, we're gonna wrap it up for this part of the conversation, but we're gonna be back in just a few minutes, and we're actually gonna talk a little bit about some stories of weddings and some advice from Daniel. Oh, yeah, we have plenty of stories here.
A lot of
if you remember.
stories.
We have plenty. So we're gonna be right back here on the Wonderful World of Weddings. We're gonna talk about some wonderful weddings and some not so wonderful weddings.
That's so wonderful.
Not so wonderful ones. Don't forget this show is sponsored by Be Remembered. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com to check them out today. And also BeRememberedWeddings.com/podcast to go ahead and send us any questions that you might have for Daniel so we can go ahead and bring him on again. We'll see you in just a few, guys. Thanks. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. I am your host today. I have Daniel Tavar with us, who is a wonderful photographer at Be Remembered. This show is sponsored by Be Remembered. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com where you can learn more. And also, too, if you have any stories, any questions, send them in at BeRememberedWeddings.com/podcast. Send them in to the Wonderful World of Weddings show, and we can go ahead and answer them. We are in the 4th segment here. Thank you for joining us today, and we're going to wrap this up today with some fun stories just to keep the mood light here. We hope you enjoy it. It's always light here. It's a crazy world, so we really hope you enjoy it. And
I am.
yeah, you're enjoying it here?
Yeah, I am.
Good. I hope the couples are enjoying it too. I mean, they matter a little bit more than us.
You gotta get ready for these stories.
Oh boy, yeah. All right, now so obviously you've done, I think we talked about this, hundreds of weddings with us alone.
Right.
He's doing 4 a week. I mean, this guy is a machine when it comes to weddings, and couples love you. So I don't even know how you do it. I don't even think they like me that much.
Right.
I don't think most do, but so we got to keep this PG-13.
Right.
We got to make it entertaining for the couples. And we also don't want to feel like we're picking on anyone,
Yeah,
which we're not. But you have to know it is funny in hindsight. And I hope couples see it too. They probably don't see the shit we deal with though. Oops, whatever. They probably don't see it. So give me your best wedding story.
Oh man.
I know.
That's just like so many.
I know. We were just talking about one during the break because we actually both dealt with the same family. I did their photos one day and he did them the next. And I told him, I was like, look, you're getting Dan 2.0. He's better.
Right.
It's like, I don't know what you want from me. I was like, it's going to be good. And they're like, he better be. We love you. Well, I mean, I'm glad to hear it, but
honestly, I think the worst experience was like an engagement shoot that I did.
Really?
Yeah.
With us?
Yeah.
Oh, do
like,
tell.
to the point where it was just complain on like the weather. It was complain on something that I couldn't control. And they were like, let's reschedule. I'm like, but your wedding's next week and you want these photos like now. And it was just like, I think you remember that one.
I do remember.
And they were like,
this.
I'm getting rain on my dress. You don't understand. I'm like, well, we can go over there. Those photos would be pretty cool. It was like a little like a little this area where people can sit if it's raining. So I was
Yes.
like, and there's no one there.
Yes.
I'm like, or we can go inside some of these buildings that had some pretty cool like neon lights.
Yes.
And I was offering everything, and like they tried to even get me to stay longer. And I was like, nah. I was like, you booked an hour. That's it.
I mean, and the worst thing too is we're really flexible. We're like, yeah, we'll show up tomorrow. Like, if it's not you because you're booked, we can do someone else. Like, that's the beauty of it. Yeah, I remember you. I remember you texting me. It's like, I don't know what.
Like, I don't know what to tell them.
Yes,
I was like, I'm sorry, it rained. Like, I can't control it.
Yeah.
I was like,
it did dry up for you too, and
I mean, like in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, so you guys good? They're like, yeah, we should stay. I was like, yeah, you should. And then when I did their wedding too. I did two. They had 2 weddings.
Yes,
and I did both of them.
Yes.
And they were like, hey, we loved your engagement photos. They kept like praising me. It was fun. Like that wedding was like probably one of the funnest weddings I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah. Like they gave me like some like something about their culture. I don't even know what it was, but like, I changed my whole outfit. Like, it was pretty sick. I was like,
you changed your whole outfit.
Yeah. They even thought I was like part of the family. People were like, oh, like what side of the family are you on? I'm like, I'm not, but I'm just, they hired me. Yeah. And they're just like, oh, okay. The last wedding I did was actually kind of funny.
Okay.
Later on, when people are drinking, I had like this.
I always tell them, let me go. Like, please do not have me here with sloppy people.
I would say one thing: you don't need to really book us like till the very end, because it's like it gets kind of like annoying for us, and then everyone's drunk.
People photos look the same.
Yeah,
they're like, can you take a picture of me?
Right.
I want the picture. I'm like, no.
Or they like start like, hey, you want to like drink with us? I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get you a drink. Like, you got to party with me. I was like, I don't want to party with you. I'm sorry.
You know what the worst thing is? I tell people all the time, and I don't drink. And so I'm like, oh no, it's okay. Like, I don't drink. And they're like, oh, honey, did you have something happen?
Every time.
I'm like,
every
no.
Time. Oh, like, oh, you don't drink? Do you smoke?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't do anything. They're like,
yeah,
I don't believe you.
I was like, you're so suspicious. I was like, do you want your shots like this? No.
Man, but I've had some times where like one thing I can't do is like I'm pretty like calm and everything, but I can't like do is when there's just so many like drunk people on me.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I can't do like the physical thing. Like, if someone like grabs me, I'm like, hey man, you got to chill out with that.
Yeah. Like
I've had some time where it's like some people gone too close to me. Like when they're like talking to me, they're like, hey, so how long have you been doing this? I'm like, hey buddy, like, he's like, what kind of camera is that? And he just starts like touching in the weirdest way.
Yes.
Like caressing it. I'm like, why are you caressing the camera? And then I'm like, dude, this is really weird. And he was like, so how many good pictures did you get of me? I'm like, they all come out good. I was like, trust me. And he was like, if my pores come out on that, I'm gonna have to come back at you. I was like, okay. I was like, you shouldn't have pores to begin with. It's like,
I know. I don't. Man, that's actually a good point though. And I've had some ladies, and you know what, ladies, I'm sorry. You can go ahead and hate me for this, but that's fine. I worked in a bar for the longest time, and I was always told, men are nasty, men are nasty, men are nasty. No. You ladies are nasty.
Yeah.
All right. Men go into a bar. They talk about politics, sports, and bullshit at work. That's what they do.
That's all we do.
Yes. I'm sorry. Women go in. They start talking about my butt. I don't like it. They start talking about some nasty things. And you know, at weddings too, it gets bad.
It gets pretty bad.
It gets bad.
One of my favorite stories though was the dance floor. Everyone was going dance. Like it was like I thought these people weren't really gonna be like dancing.
Yeah.
They seemed like kind of like a chill, like family.
Yeah.
And like the music went on. Everybody went. Like not even a single person. And the best thing was like when this girl was just going off on like it was like her song. Like you could tell it was her song. Next thing you know, you just see her like twisting her hair and then her eyelashes just start falling. And I can like see it in slow motion. And they hit the dance floor and everyone just goes, yo, back off. Everyone just like pointing at it and staring at it and just her like eyelashes on the floor. And no one, like everyone's just like dancing around it.
That's all right. I got one better for you. This happened this past weekend and they don't mind because they're a hilarious family.
All right.
So I actually told this guy, I was at this guy's wedding, right?
Yeah.
Him and his wife, sweetheart, they were like I was their best friends. Well, she throws the bouquet. This is September of last year. She throws the bouquet. His groomsman's girlfriend catches it. And I knew this groomsman. So I go, oh, you son of a bitch. You got to propose now. You better propose. 3 months later. Hey, Dan. Yeah, I proposed. You're doing our wedding. okay, I'll send it over. Send over the quote. They're like, you better be there. I was like, I'm going to be there. Don't worry.
Right.
So this past weekend, I had the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to me, hey, I need you to work your magic again. This is in the reception. I said, what do you mean? He goes, you got some influence, bud. Like, I need you to work your magic. Okay. He goes, I got my cousin. He's an idiot. I was like, do tell. He's like, I need him with this girl. Okay. So he goes up to this girl who he knew very well. And he goes, hey, you still with that moron? She goes, no, but thanks. And they were like family friends. Yeah. She's like, no, thanks. Why? And he's like, here's my cousin, Daniel. Of course, his name's Daniel.
Of course,
like,
it has to be.
So he goes up with this beer, and me and the groom walk away, and we're watching this thing, and he is striking out so hard. And the groom looks at me and he goes, God, she's so much above his league. It's not even funny. And I just start talking. And so she's like, hey, so where are you from? Like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah. And he's like watching the Bruins game on TV. He's like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God.
You know, that same energy, I had a DJ have that same energy. It was awkward silence a lot of the time. She was like, all right, bride and groom, can you come up cake cutting? And it was that awkward, like the whole, I'm like, I don't think this guy, and I came up to him when we had our dinner together. I was like, so how long have you been doing this? He's like, oh, it's my first wedding. I'm like, oh,
that sounds about right.
It shows.
Yeah.
It was so awkward.
Jesus.
He played the wrong song multiple times, and the bride had to come like, this is the song.
Oh my God. All right, guys. So we're going to leave you on this note that, what was our piece of advice?
I have no idea.
We had a great piece of advice. Oh, yes. Get a family member. If you have a list of people, cousins, uncles, you name it, get a family member.
A lot. It makes the day go by quicker.
Attach them to us. Tell us who Uncle Bob is. Let us know. Corral people with us. It's going to make the day go by fast. You're going to enjoy your cocktail hour. It's going to be very, very smooth. But on that note, we have to leave. Thank you so much, Daniel. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And so we hope you enjoyed this episode of The Wonderful World of Weddings. We're going to be back next Friday. So join us every Friday right here on WCRN or online, anywhere you get your podcasts. And remember, sponsored by Be Remembered. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com. My name is Daniel. We'll see you next week.
Bye.